Some Sonic bosses stick with you because they deliver epic finales and nail that thrilling showdown, while others, well, they're memorable for all the wrong reasons, or they just fade into the background altogether. After ranking every boss from the original Sonic the Hedgehog in my last video, I'm back to tackle Sonic the Hedgehog 2 today, a game that stepped things up in every way, from faster gameplay to bigger, more intense boss battles. Each boss fight will be scored out of 15 points, split across 3 categories. Challenge, how tough and engaging the boss fight is. Enjoyment, how much fun I had personally in beating it. Design, which is the look and creativity and the general cool factor. Each category will be split into 5 points, making it easy to see which bosses truly stand out and which ones are kinda, well, I guess, a little bit stinky. The Egg Bouncer. The Egg Bouncer stands out, but not in a good way. For me, it's easily the weakest boss in Sonic 2, feeling like it could belong in any zone or any game, rather than this distinctly industrial metropolis. The fight lacks uniqueness and doesn't reflect the level's theme, making it forgettable and a rather generic encounter. Challenge, it's a 2 out of 5. The Egg Bouncer is one of the damage boost bosses. The main strategy is to get hit, grab a ring, and then attack as many times as you can while you have your invincibility frames. It's not particularly demanding, but it does require quite a lot of timing and patience, I guess. Enjoyment, 2 out of 5. Honestly, I find this boss pretty lame. It feels like a huge letdown, especially since it's the final normal zone boss. It lacks excitement and doesn't leave too much of an impression on me. Design, it's a 2 out of 5. This boss is a massive disappointment design-wise. It doesn't incorporate the Metropolis Zone's industrial theme all too well, and genuinely it barely attacks you, just flies from side to side. The clones add some threat, I guess, but overall it's a poorly designed boss that doesn't live up to the level's atmosphere. And you know what? I'm one of those weird people that actually really like Metropolis Zone, so I find this to be a disappointment. Final score, 6 out of 15. Egg Bouncer is a major missed opportunity. It lacks personality, challenge, and any real connection to the Metropolis Zone's unique vibe. For a game that excels in memorable bosses, this one just feels generic and, I guess, uninspired. A disappointing way to close out the standard zones. The Egg Hammer. This one feels like a bit of a letdown compared to what you might typically expect from a big swinging hammer. The trick is, if you head over to the far right as soon as the fight starts, you can stand safely on the rising totem pole and barely interact with the rest of the boss. As long as the hammer doesn't accidentally hit you, you can just spam hits on Eggman from above, which definitely cuts the challenge down a little bit. Speaking of, challenge, 2 out of 5. With that strategy, the boss basically becomes a slow tap fest. The arrows below don't feel threatening at all, and the hammer swings are easy to avoid from your perch. So while it looks like it should be tough, this fight ends up being pretty effortless if I'm honest. On top of this, even playing the boss as intended is not really that difficult with how slow the arrows actually travel. Enjoyment, it's a 2 out of 5. Due to the low challenge and minimal input needed to win, this fight feels a little underwhelming in the grand scheme of Sonic 2's bosses. It doesn't really push you, and the most efficient tactic feels more like a loophole rather than a fair challenge. A harsh ranking, but one that feels warranted. Design, it's a 3 out of 5. That said, I'm glad the boss is not underwater, even though the stages seem that way. The overall aesthetic works well, and the mech looks like it could deliver a serious punch. Plus the hammer motif is a classic Eggman touch that we see more of in future games, which is cool for the fans who appreciate the continuity there. Final score is a 7 out of 15. Egghammer looks the part, but ends up being an easy and somewhat boring fight if you do know the trick. It's solid visually, but could have packed a bit more punch gameplay wise. The Egg Scorcher Mark 2. Now this theme is a nostalgic one for me, mainly because I used to use it as my old outro music. Those who know what I'm on about. Anyway, Hilltop Zone's Egg Scorcher Mark 2 is a bit tougher than its Sonic 1 predecessor, but it is still pretty manageable. Eggman spreads fire across your only safe ground, so timing is key here, though I do usually manage to avoid lava damage unless I get greedy. Honestly, sometimes I just damage boost through this boss, which speaks to how quickly you can pile on the hits here. Challenge. It's a 2 out of 5. The fire attacks add pressure, but the fight isn't too demanding overall. It's a slight step up from the original Egg Scorcher, but it's still easy to handle once you get the hang of it. Enjoyment. It's a 3 out of 5. It's fine. Nothing really exciting and nothing particularly frustrating either. The boss kind of just exists as a functional challenge, without leaving a strong impression. Design. It's a 3 out of 5. The design fits the volcanic hilltop zone theme well, and feels like a solid upgrade over the Egg 1 Scorcher. Conceptually, a submarine built to traverse lava is an amazing idea, even if the fight doesn't fully capitalise on that potential. Final score is an 8 out of 15. Egg Scorcher Mark II is a decent mid-tier boss that fits its environment but doesn't make a huge impact. It's reliable and it's thematic, but it falls a bit flat on the excitement and the challenge. The Eggmarine. The Eggmarine marks a key turning point in Sonic 2's journey. Up until this boss, the stages have leaned heavily on natural and vibrant environments. But with Oil Ocean Zone and this fight in particular, the game shifts towards a more industrial, mechanical atmosphere. This transition is reflected not only in the level design, but also in the Eggmarine's menacing machine-like form and its varied attacks. It's a subtle but important narrative and aesthetic shift that signal the game's move into darker, more complex territory. Challenge. It's a 1 out of 5. As long as you know how to press the jump button over and over, you will not get hit, I guarantee you. It's the first boss that comes to mind where heading into the danger ensures your safety, as when you are in the oil underneath the platform that you are supposed to stand on, you literally cannot get hit the entire fight. I am not joking, so yes, it's a 1 out of 5. Enjoyment. It's a 3 out of 5. This is going to sound like really strange, but I kind of enjoy using the dominance strategy. There is something about knowing that this boss would be so much harder if I played it properly and didn't know how to exploit it. So yeah, there's a level of fun for me there. Design. It's a 4 out of 5. This might seem a little generous, but hear me out. This boss marks a crucial turning point in the game. The zones slowly shift from natural environments to more mechanical ones, and this organic storytelling becomes very clear with this dystopian future-inspired boss. It has a variety of attacks, including laser blasts, a spiked mechanical arm, and overall, it's just very well designed, which is rare for the bosses in this game. Final score, 8 out of 15. While the challenge is on the easier side, the Eggmarine offers surprising depth in gameplay, with its multiple attack patterns and the need to master positioning. Combined with its strong thematic presence, this boss marks a meaningful shift in Sonic 2's progression and keeps the fight engaging. Just for reference though, doesn't mean I like Oil Ocean Zone. Just putting that out there. The Egg Drillster. Here's the thing, this boss is not going to blow your mind, but it doesn't really need to. It's the first fight in Sonic 2, and it plays its role perfectly. A breezy intro that lets you bounce on Eggman's head while the tropical vibes roll in. Challenge. It's a 2 out of 5. There's not a whole lot of danger here. Eggman cruises in with his little spiked drillmobile and drives from side to side. As long as you don't mistime your jumps, you're golden. It's light, it's easy, and that's all intentional. This boss is meant to be to teach the player and not to test the player. Enjoyment, a 4 out of 5. For what it is, it's fun. There's something satisfying about bouncing off of Eggman to upbeat music and watching him flail away after just a few hits. It doesn't overstay its welcome as it's really easy to beat, and it delivers that classic Sonic boss rhythm with a light-hearted tone. Not thrilling, but definitely enjoyable. Design, it's a 3 out of 5. It's clean and readable, but not especially inventive. The drill car is fine, albeit a bit forgettable, and the backdrop, well, it's the colourful environment of Emerald Hill Zone, so it doesn't bring much to the table in terms of atmosphere, but it's at least visual storytelling. Final score, it's a 9 out of 15. The Emerald Hill boss is simple but charming. It doesn't try to wow you, but it leaves a good impression and gets the job done with style. A strong start, not flashy, but undeniably fun. The Egg Digger. The Egg Digger is a memorable boss for me. It was a real test back in the day. I don't think I made it past this one actually until I was maybe about, I don't know, maybe 13 or 14, so maybe I am a little biased here. Nowadays though, it's not too tough, especially if you know the patterns, and I often just find myself damage boosting through it. Challenge. It's a 3 out of 5. There are a lot of spikes dropping from the ceiling that you need to dodge, plus those relentless drills that can catch you if you rush it are quite hard to manage. It demands some more patience and timing, especially if you want to avoid taking hits. Moving too quickly is almost as risky as being too slow, which adds a nice layer of tension to the fight. Enjoyment. It's a 3 out of 5. It feels intense to fight, and I get a little thrill every time I manage to dodge every spike that rains down from above. The constant pressure of the drills and the spikes keeps you locked in, making each successful hit feel earned and satisfying. Design. A 3 out of 5. I mean, big drills are cool. I've always thought so anyway. Maybe that's why I like the Pokemon Excadrill or Venture from Overwatch. Anyways, I'm getting a little sidetracked there. The boss keeps thematic consistency once again and uses its theme really well. Final score. It's a 9 out of 15. The Egg Digger strikes a good balance between challenge and fun, with a design that fits the level's theme quite nicely. It's a boss that demands focus without feeling overwhelming, and those spikes and drills keep the tension alive. Not the most memorable fight, but definitely a solid and satisfying one. The Egg Sludger. I couldn't find a definitive title when I was researching this boss in particular. I've seen Egg Poison, I've seen Water Eggman, but I didn't like the sound of those names at all, so until I find out the official name, I'm rolling with the Egg Sludger. Anyway, you've raced through tubes, dodged toxic goo, and survived the most infamous water trap in the series up to this point. And now it's time to face Eggman. The boss at the end of Chemical Plant Zone might look basic on the surface, but there's a surprising amount of room for mistakes, especially if you're trying to rush it. Challenge. Surprisingly, it's a 4 out of 5. This one can catch you off guard. Eggman floats above a disappearing floor, dropping chemical capsules that leave damage-dealing sludge on top of you. The only safe area being the central platforms. It seems simple, but if you get impatient and fall into the pool below, it's an instant death. Not many regular bosses in this game offer an instant kill potential, so it can be a little scary, even when you've got experience. One misstep and you're toast, especially if the goo gets you and knocks you into the pool, or the timing throws you off. It's not hard once you slow down and take your time, but if you're trying to speedrun the game, it can be surprisingly punishing. Enjoyment. It's a 3 out of 5. It's a decent fight, the vertical layout adds a layer of tension, and smacking Eggman while dodging the sludge can feel pretty satisfying. But the arena's tight spacing, and the potential for cheat deaths, can make it feel a little frustrating if I'm honest, especially on your first few playthroughs. Still, it's more engaging than the first boss, and keeps you on your toes. Design. It's a 3 out of 5. The arena feels a little, let's say, sterile, like it could have used some more visual flair to match the wild energy of the zone itself. The sludge capsules are a cool concept, and the vertical movement gives it some structure, but visually and conceptually, it doesn't do a whole lot to wow the player. Final score. 10 out of 15. Not a flashy boss, but more dangerous than it looks. It's a solid step up from Emerald Hill, offering a real chance to slip up, while still keeping things relatively straightforward. My advice? Just don't rush it. Chemical Plant's final test can be very, very punishing if you are reckless. Barrier Eggman. Barrier Eggman presents a solid challenge that truly signals the intensity of Sonic 2's endgame. The enclosed arena, guarded by barriers, forces you to master tight movement and quick reflexes as you dodge spiky platforms and a deadly laser. It's a boss fight that keeps you on your toes and feels like a fitting climax to Wing Fortress Zone. Challenge. It's a 4 out of 5. Barrier Eggman is a decently tough boss. The unpredictable movements of the 3 spiky platforms make it easy to get hit if you're not paying close attention. The laser beam attack from the top adds another layer of difficulty. It doesn't fire constantly, but when it does, it opens right before you need to attack it, and it lasts long enough to keep you on edge. The enclosed space created by the barriers on each side also ramps up the challenge, as there's less room to maneuver, and it makes it a lot easier for you to lose all of your rings if you get hit. Enjoyment. It's a 4 out of 5. When you fight Barrier Eggman, you'll know you're truly in the endgame, and the pressure really hits you. It's genuinely fun to overcome the difficulty, especially since it feels like Eggman is on the run, with just one barrier standing between you and victory. Interestingly, whether intentional or not, the enclosed space and close quarters kinda remind me of the Eggman Crusher fight from Sonic 1. It gives me that nostalgic feel for Sonic 1. Design. 4 out of 5. Barrier Eggman is a well-designed boss. It can hurt you in several ways and quickly take you out if you get near the edge and lose your rings. However, it misses a perfect score because it doesn't incorporate enough unique elements from Wing Fortress. Don't get me wrong, I don't know how it would do that, but based on this ranking, it fails to accomplish that, so it's a 4 out of 5. Final score, 12 out of 15. I was genuinely surprised by this. Barrier Eggman delivers a tense and satisfying boss fight that raises the stakes as Sonic 2 nears its conclusion. Its varied attacks and tight arena create a genuine sense of urgency and challenge. While it could lean further into Wing Fortress, and it really should have done, it remains one of the more memorable and engaging battles in the game. The Egg Claw. This boss adds a bit more edge to the fight, with a giant claw mech swinging around and dropping spike balls that keep you on your toes. It's not about just timing your attacks, you've got to watch your positioning carefully, especially with that electric current lurking underneath the mech. Challenge. It's a 3 out of 5. The go-to strategy here is to spin dash up the walls to hit Eggman, which can make the fight a little bit easier if you are struggling, especially if you pull it off consistently. But don't get too cocky. Missing your jumps or approaching from the wrong angle means you'll likely get zapped by the electric current or hit by those spike balls. It demands a bit more precision than what you've seen in the earlier bosses. Enjoyment. It's a 4 out of 5. I always really enjoyed this boss, funnily enough. It's super fun to fight, probably because there are different ways to approach it. That said, I do find myself leaning into that dominant strategy most of the time, which is the one I mentioned, spin dashing up on the walls. Design. It's a 5 out of 5. I genuinely can't think of a way to improve this boss's design. It perfectly suits the casino themed level and even incorporates the unique gimmick of how you attack the mech. The skill ceiling is high, the colours are vibrant, and the mech ties everything together beautifully. Final score, 12 out of 15. The Egg Claw strikes a great balance between challenge, fun and design. It's a boss that keeps you engaged without feeling frustrating, and it fits that casino vibe perfectly. Definitely one of the more memorable fights in Sonic 2. Mecha Sonic. As you enter the Death Egg Zone, the atmosphere shifts dramatically. The tension is palpable. The zone's dark, mechanical setting feels like Eggman's personal playground, and you immediately notice you have no rings as the boss slowly lowers down to you. This absence isn't just a gameplay mechanic, it's a clear signal that things are about to get even more serious. Mecha Sonic embodies this intensity perfectly, making the fight feel like a true test of skill and nerve. Challenge. It's a 4 out of 5. Mecha Sonic is a tough boss, especially since you start the fight with no rings. One mistake can mean instant death, which makes the pressure real from the get-go. It usually takes me a few attempts to learn its attack patterns, but once you do, you can start to master this fight and ace it. Enjoyment. It's a 5 out of 5. I personally get a lot of enjoyment from this boss because it feels incredibly rewarding once you've learned its patterns. Small techniques like spin dashing when Mecha Sonic charges at you for extra damage, or anticipating its jumps and spin dashes, add a satisfying layer of skill to the fight. Overcoming these challenges makes the battle truly gratifying. Design. It's a 5 out of 5 again. Mecha Sonic stands out as a unique boss in the series. It's the first boss that isn't actually Eggman himself. Instead, you can see Eggman watching the fight with excitement, hoping for your defeat. This small but meaningful detail elevates the boss design further for me. Eggman's frustration at losing to Sonic has led him to create Mecha Sonic, a mechanical doppelganger with the moveset closely mirroring your own abilities. The fight is not only challenging, but also fun and cleverly crafted, making it one of the best designed bosses in the game. Final score, 14 out of 15. Mecha Sonic delivers an intense, thrilling boss fight that perfectly captures the high stakes of the Death Egg Zone. Its unique design, clever moveset, and high difficulty combine to create a rewarding challenge that stands out in the Sonic series. This fight isn't just about reflexes, it's a true test of mastery and conquering. It feels like a major accomplishment when you beat it. Death Egg Robot. The climatic showdown of Sonic 2, the Death Egg Robot delivers an epic battle that tests everything you've learned throughout the game. With the mechanical fortress looming around you and no rings to protect yourself, you quickly realise this is Eggman's final test for you, and survival demands precision and nerves of steel. Challenge. It's a 5 out of 5. While the Death Egg robot's attack pattern might be easier to learn than Mecha Sonic's once you know what you're doing, the real challenge comes from having to fight both bosses back to back without any rings. One mistake and it's back to the start of the zone. The pattern itself is simple but effective. You need to avoid getting crushed, time your jumps perfectly to dodge the spiked arms, and know when to approach and retreat in order to avoid being shot by the fast moving mechanical arms. It's a test of patience, precision, and endurance. Enjoyment. It's a 5 out of 5. This fight is the pinnacle of Sonic 2's boss battles. The tension runs so high that sometimes I just want it to be over just because of how stressed I get, and that's exactly how I know that I care and that I'm fully engaged in the fight. It's a deeply fun and intense experience that helped to define for me what a final boss in a 2D platformer should feel like. Design. It's a 5 out of 5. Arguably, it is one of the most iconic bosses in Sonic the Hedgehog's history, and Sonic Team knows it. That's why the Death Egg robot has made multiple returns throughout the series. It's one of the ultimate big bads in Sonic the Hedgehog. It's tough, visually impressive, and a fitting finale to an incredible game. Its design perfectly captured the scale and stakes of the final battle. Final score. It's a 15 out of 15. The Death Egg robot stands as the ultimate test and climax of Sonic 2, blending challenge, excitement, and iconic design into one unforgettable boss fight. It's a fitting end to a legendary game and a shining example of what a final battle in a 2D platformer can be. And there you have it. Every boss from Sonic the Hedgehog 2 ranked. Looking back, it's kinda wild how Sonic 2 stepped up the game with bigger, flashier bosses and even more creative chaos. Some battles were epic showdowns that still get your heart racing, and others, well, let's say they gave me at least plenty of reasons to keep retrying them. But that's exactly what makes Sonic 2 such a classic. It nailed the formula while still pushing boundaries, and these bosses set the stage for some truly unforgettable fights in the Sonic series. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, as I've got more Sonic content coming your way. Maybe we'll take on Sonic 3 next, or we could dive into something totally unexpected. Even I don't know. Well, thanks for watching, and remember, no matter how bad a boss fight gets, at least it's not as boring as Sky Chase Sun. Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.